And we can move on to our feet. I think those are looking pretty good just because from my play blast I didn't really see anything wrong. So the foot should be planted until here in terms of this controller. And it has a nice arc, so that's working, and that's the only movement on that foot we have. And we can look at the banking. I'm gonna make sure I don't accidentally have it on several controllers anymore like I did before. So this is the only one that I'm using, and I'm just gonna go through that and make sure everything is good. And looking at this foot here, it's very subtle, but it lands and it kind of overcompensates for a frame. So I do want to add that little bit of texture by just banking the foot the other way just a tiny bit. You see how it overcorrects there? So I think that's pretty cool to have. And we can't forget on this controller here, we checked the translations, but we didn't look at the rotations, so I'm gonna do that as well. Alright, and then I'm gonna do the same exact thing with the other foot. And here we do have animation on both controllers, but luckily this one is only affecting this section of the animation and this one only this section. So I don't have to transfer it onto this other controller, but you know, to keep your workflow clean, you definitely can. I'm just gonna leave it for now because it's okay. Okay, and looking at my play blast again, just look at the screen right eyebrow through here. It just looks kind of weird. So we're gonna look into that when he's stepping forward. So around here. Let's zoom in on him so we can see better. So first of all, this controller doesn't really ease or anything, it just happens really fast. I'm gonna make it a lot slower, just delete this key as it is, and ease this one. And ease the other side as well. And same here. And I look at the other eyebrow controllers too and just fix everything, and also the eyes. So I feel like I don't have to explain everything step by step anymore just because it's always the same thing. But this recording is getting really long, so I don't want you to be sitting here through every single detail, especially the small features on the face. And now the brows go up, and then the furrow disappears too late, so I'm gonna shift both X locations on both furrows to happen sooner. And the brows go down too fast as well, so let me delay that. And then here we have the little eye dart, and we have it over 2 frames. But with an eye dart, you don't want to keep it a perfect in between usually. You want it to be either closer to one side or the other. So I'm gonna bring it closer to the right key. So I'm gonna put it at like 70%. And then here on frame 22, I'm gonna bring the eyes higher as well. So for a frame, they're gonna be kind of funny looking like this, but that's fine. And then on frame 21, because we have it on 4 frames, I'm gonna bring that really close to the previous key. So you just see very little motion there. And the eyelids are opening too much for how much the eyes are traveling up. So let's key it on frame 22, and then on frame 21, bring them lower. So now it feels right. And same here. And here, before the foot kicks off the ground, let's just add a little bit of a blink. So I'll do it through here while Max is moving from one side to the other. Maybe around frame 113 is where he's gonna have his eyes closed. And you have to play around with these tweakers a little bit because we were moving them around. So you need to use them to close the eyes. And you don't want the eye to be flat like this, so you want to push that curve. So now they have a nice C shape. And the rule for blinks is kind of like the bouncing ball on the way down. And we also have this infographic for you if you want to study eye blinks. But basically the frame before the blink, you want the eyes still open. And you still want to see the pupils, and then they shut close over one frame. But on the way up, you have more easing happening. So the result you're getting is kind of like a shark fin, like in the picture from the infographic. It's sharper on one side and then softer on the other side. And it's not always going to look the same, especially here because he's looking down. We have a little bit of a different angle, but it's still kind of applying in terms of the spacing. And you don't want the blink to be taking this many frames, so I'll just bring this flat key closer. And that's it, a simple blink. Especially from this far away, you don't really need to do more than that. If you want, you can add just slight movement on the brows, where on the blink they just go down very little, but don't make it too obvious. And that's all you need. Okay, now that we have most of the animation on the chest, let's fix the penetrations of these strings on Max. So let's see where they start. Here they're already penetrating. Here they're still okay. So I'm just gonna grab all the controllers here and key them. Let's say here on frame 34, I'm gonna key it. I'll delete the rest of the keys. And then here they're already penetrating. So I'm just gonna rotate them forward. Just keeping it very simple. And I might need a little bit more on these guys here. And that's it, that's all you really need. I'm just trying to make sure it's not going through the body, but I'm not animating them past that. And let's add some of that tapping motion. You don't really see too much of the thumbs, you see more of this screen right one. So that's mostly where I'm gonna add that. And again, you don't want it to be too smooth, you want it to be more impactful, so the frame before is gonna be a little bit higher. So again, that bouncing ball animation just always comes in handy. You wanna have that impact, the little tap. And you don't want the thumb to be traveling for so long. So again, we're gonna be easing it. And then actually what we can do is a swipe. So we'll keep the thumb exactly where it was. And now we're gonna add some of this. There you go. So it looks like he taps and then slides. And then his thumb goes up again, but we don't want it to go fully to the position where it was on the first frame. So maybe I'll do this, make the thumb more straighter. Especially while he's looking up, I feel like I don't want him to be tapping at all. I'm just gonna be keeping the thumb in the air all through here. Then he looks down, so he can still have it up in the air. Maybe just adjust the thumb a little because it's not gonna be fully in the same spot. And then we can have another tap. I'm just gonna paste that key, make it easy, and delete the rest. I'm just gonna leave the tapping animation at that, and I'm gonna add just a little bit on the other thumb too. And you can't see from the camera view that the thumbs are going through each other, so that's fine. I just don't want them to be going up and down at the same time, so it feels like it's alternating. So I'm moving those keys to happen sooner. Alright, so we're pretty much done with the whole animation. The only thing that's missing is that a little bit of settle at the end. And we kind of have it, but I can see the pelvis just shooting up really fast and then it settles. So I kind of want to smooth that action a little. So it's the X rotation, it's just shooting up through here and then going back. So let's maybe reduce it, but also make it smoother. And there's probably some motion on the cog as well that's causing that. And we need to add some more animation to the chest. And I'm gonna delay the head on the X rotation, just for that settle. And then I want to have a little bit more forward motion on the cog as he settles, because now it's very straight and forward is down. So let me just bring that forward. Okay, so let's also look at it from a different angle to see if everything is working. So I feel like the settle at the end should happen sooner. I'm bringing the cog closer, and here he should probably lean back more before leaning forward again, and then we can cushion that. And we'll do the same on the chest, just with a little bit of a delay. So the chest is already going up here, but it should still be going forward. And this upper chest controller should also reflect what's happening on the regular chest controller. So we're gonna fix the upper chest as well. And the head, of course. So we want the head to drag, continue going up, and then head later. Okay, so I think it's looking good now. Let's just take one more look at the play blast. Okay, so basically what I did is add a little bit of overshoot and then settle, mainly on the upper body with a delay going up. So the cog goes first, then the chest, then the upper chest, neck, and head. And basically they rock to one side and then they rock back. And that's basically all you need. So let's see how it looks in our play blast. Yeah, I think that looks pretty good. We could massage it even more if we wanted to, but I think it's good for the exercise. And we'll give you the blend file for the version that I spent a little bit more time on, so you'll be able to study that, but essentially it's the same thing. So here it gets a little bit harder to follow exactly what I'm doing, and in some way that might be a good thing, because now you're kind of forced to make your own exercise. You have to take your own reference and animate your own shot and just use the principles of weight shift that we're teaching you, but this is where you're starting to become a little bit more independent in your shots, and it does make it harder, but it's something you have to go through to become a better animator. But if you want, we'll also provide the reference we used for this specific shot, and if you want, you can just use that as well. And yeah, hopefully you didn't fall asleep watching this really long lecture. Have fun, good luck, and see you in the next one.